Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this card making project. In this project we're going to make a beautiful birthday card using lots of Anna Griffin goodies. I'll try and tell you everything that I use as we go along, but for any viewers who like to see a list, from now on all the lists are going to be on my blog. In the description box on YouTube you're just going to get a link and it's going to direct you over to my blog, because there's more information and it's going to keep you up to date with different projects and things. And it's all easy to view on there. You can see all the projects and just pick the ones you want to watch. I've tried to make it nice and viewer friendly so that it's nice and easy for people that aren't really that techie, and you can just see at a glance which you want to see, view as it were. So without further ado, I'll crack on because I know that's what you want to see. So the card blank that I'm using is a 7x5 inch card. And this is my favourite size of card because it's not too big and not too small. This is how it looks on the cardometer. This is the A4, the A5, which is the A4 folded in half, and then this is our size, the 7x5, and then the A6, which is the A5 folded in half. Now I know in different parts of the world it's different sizes, but the standard A4 size, that will then give you the idea and the perspective of what we're using. So I'm using an ivory card and I'm just going to use my bone folder to make sure I've got a good sharp edge along the edge. There we go. Makes it look professional and gives it a good crease when it stands up. Now I just want to give you a tip here. So when you buy a card and you look at it and you think which is the front and which is the back, when you look at the sides of it, one side will normally be about 1 millimetre bigger than the other. The side that's 1 millimetre bigger will be your front, because that's what it's made for. It's showing that there's that extra little bit of real estate for you, but that gives it the perfect opening and closing, because a person can get the finger on the edge to open it. Now I didn't know that, I was taught that this week. So there we go. So the first thing that we're going to do is the inside of our card. Now I've got an ivory insert. Don't get hung up about trying to match your ivories unless you're doing something really specific for a wedding or you're selling your invitations or something, because tones of ivory can look so classy even if they're just slightly off. Even adding white and ivory together can look great, because they're neutrals and they just look so luxurious anyway. So I've got a piece of ivory, it's paper stroke cardstock. I've tapped the edge lightly with an ink pad, which is actually a stays-on ink pad called Cactus. I think it's called Cactus Green, but I know there's Cactus in the title. I'll put it in the description box anyway. So I've tapped the edge and I've used a Spellbinders B matting and layering die to actually cut out the layer, just so that it's a perfect rectangle and it will sit nicely in our card. So, and I know Anna won't mind me saying that I've used the matting and layering rectangle, because it just looks so neat and professional, and I don't have a cutting machine to make my layers, so that would be nice and quick, I know, for a lot of viewers that have got them. So we're popping our insert into the centre of the card. Next, what I've done, I've taken the Fretwork 1 die and I've cut it out using one of Anna's Boxing Day papers, and this is the little pink spot on spot paper, and I've used the light, well I'm saying paper, you get 2 lots of cardstock in the Boxing Day papers, one slightly heavier than the other. This is the lighter of the 2. I'm not sure on the weights, but you know, we don't want to get hung up about weights as well, because then you'll be taking your craft into a whole different level, and we just want to have fun with it. So I've die cut using one of the Fretwork 1 dies, and then I've cut out a square. So I've die cut it once to get the actual fretwork, and then I've die cut a square shape out of the centre of it. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of my glossy accents to the back of it, and I'm just going to, it's just dried up while I've been talking, so I'll just pop it with a pin so that we can get some glue out of it. There we go. And I'm just adding it on the sections on the die cut that are wider, that are wide enough to be able to get the glue on. Like that, just going round and adding a little bit. And then I can add this to the centre of my card. So now you can see where I've die cut the square out of the centre, and it's left as it were an aperture, a square hole. Now, using the same die that I cut for the square, I've die cut a piece of Anna's pink metallic cardstock, and then I've stamped it using one of the 22 clear birthday stamps, and it says, "Here's hoping your birthday is truly wonderful." I've got double-sided tape on the back of it, and then this square will sit nicely in the square that we die cut from the fretwork die. That way we're not adding extra bulk to the actual inside of the card, so it's still flat. And that's our insert. We've got enough room to add our to and from, and maybe a little message. If you want an extra room, you might want to add a letter or something with it. But that is a beautiful insert that's going to match the outside of our card perfectly. So I'm just going to use my bone folder for the edge again, just to make sure it's nice and sharp. And we're going to start with the outside. Now this is from Anna's Metallic Layers 7x5" collection. And what I've done is I've die cut it to fit the card, and then I've actually, I'm sorry, I'm saying I've die cut it to fit the card. I've die cut a section out of it. It fits the card, but I've taken the centre away because I'm being economical with it. And I think it's quite a large area that's going to be covered, that I can save this centre panel and use it for something else. So that's our first layer. Our second layer is from Anna's glitter cardstock, and I've done exactly the same. I've cut it to size to fit the layer below so that it's matted and layered, but then I've taken the centre of it away because it's too good to waste. And, you know, we pay good money for our supplies. We don't want to, I'm going to say waste them, but I don't mean waste them. Hide it all when we could save a little bit for something else. So I'm simply layering this on again over the layer below. Now the section that I've cut out, you know, you're not going to see this, so don't worry about it. Just make sure that the piece you've cut out is smaller than your next layer, because obviously you'd run into problems if it wasn't. So our next layer is from the Charlotte collection from Anna, and this is going to cover up the hole that we've got in the middle. And again, you won't tell that there's a hole because we've got lots of layers and embellishments to go over the top there, so it'll still sit flat. I know I had a message from somebody saying, "Oh, but can't you see the ridges between the layers where the dip is?" No, you can't, because it's literally all covered over, and then when you get your embellishments on the centre, that covers it again. So that's our layer of Charlotte cardstock. Next, what I've done is the fretwork die that we've used for the inside. I've cut out using Anna's glitter cardstock, and I've got just a little bit of tape in the middle to hold it, and then I'm going to add, like we did for the insert, add a little bit of glue on the back of it, and then we can add this onto our last level, our Charlotte cardstock, and just pop it on like that, just through the centre, and then that'll take a few minutes to take hold with the glue, but we can carry on with what else we've got anyway. So next I used Anna's Paper Tricks 2 to make some rosettes. I made them using the same pink dotted card that we used on the insert, and then I used the dies and everything in Paper Tricks 2. I know we've covered it before for making the rosettes, but then out of the Charlotte collection I die cut a slightly smaller circle out of, there's a gorgeous geometric square pattern, and I just die cut the centre of those on 2 of the rosettes that we've made, just to give it something slightly different. And I'm going to add the 2 rosettes to the front of the card, and I'm just adding them roughly about there. And then again from the Charlotte collection, there's some gorgeous sentiments that have got the flowers and the actual touch of gold on with the sentiment wording, and I've got double-sided tape on the back of it and 3D foam, because it's going to run slightly across the rosettes and then slightly onto the card. So we can add this through the centre, and you see this is the part that it sits on the rosette, and then this part doesn't. So these 2 sections need the 3D foam, and these 2 sections just need the flat tape. And the last thing I've got is a small pre-made bow from Anna's collections, and I think I'm just going to add it underneath the sentiment to finish off our card, just like that. And that is our card finished. Something a little bit different with our paper folding for the Paper Tricks, for the rosettes, and the dimension and the glitter from the Fretwork 1 die. It stands up perfectly. It'll sit gorgeous on any mantelpiece or any windowsill. Now it's slightly taller because you've got the added foam pads for the rosettes, so it might be worth spending that little bit extra on your postage if you're wanting to post it, or if you're wanting to hand deliver it. It'll still fit in an envelope because it's not too high. We're not looking at layers and layers and layers. So that's a gorgeous card, fit for anybody's birthday, just something a little bit different. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, but please head over to my blog now for the descriptions and the items used and everything, because that'll tell you exactly the item title from the different kits that I've used from Anna's collections. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to find me on Facebook, say hello, make yourself known, and then that way we can, become friends. So thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time.